Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our online Kashmir Cultural Heritage Awareness Series. Today's series is our 104th, and the topic is Kashmir, Months After Pahalgam by Sri Aditya Raj Kaul, Executive Director, NDTV. We will also have five more eminent personalities who will be joining us. As always, we will start with the prayer song. We were supposed to be joined by Dr. Hindu Sharma from Rishikesh. Due to health reasons, she is unable to join us today. And we have Krishnaveni, who is one of the students of Harini Srivatsa, who has been always assisting us for prayer. She will be joining and rendering the prayer song now. Veniji, thank you for joining at a short notice.
Thank you. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaskari. Saraga Sadve Shah Prasrumara Saroje Pradidinam Nisargata Kraman Viputa Jana Murdana Madhikam Kadam Satnatanam Kakshi Prakatayadi Kaivalya Sat Japalakshmi Shonah Janita Paramagya Nalini Vikasa Vyasangah Vipalita Jagajatya Garima Manapurva Chitarasa Tamaskanda Tava Charana Pado
Ji, thanks for joining at a short notice, and we appreciate you are rendering the prayer song today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you. We would first begin with a small introduction. We thank Kanchi Mutt for our ongoing Kashmir initiatives. Offer our namaskarams to the Guru Parampara, specifically His Holiness Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal, 70th Pidadhipati, and His Holiness Satya Chandra Shekharendra Saraswati Swamigal, 71st Pidadhipati of Kanchi Kamakodi Peetham. The Kanchi Math has been in the forefront, working modestly with the sole aim of national integration and spiritual enlightenment. We remain dedicated to preserving the unique cultural heritage of Kashmir, honoring it as an integral part of the history. We are very pleased to welcome Sri Aditya Raj Kaul. Aditya ji has already appeared in our program in February 2023 on the topic Kashmir before and after Article 370 abrogation. Aditya Raj Kaul is currently the Senior Executive Editor for Geopolitics, National Security, and Strategic Affairs at NDTV, having previously worked for over 15 years in various leading national and international newsrooms, including TV9 Network, Group Contributing Editors CNN, News 18, Times Now, and Republic TV. As Senior Executive Editor at NDTV, he covers global affairs and tracks power dynamics from international capitals and conflict zones. He is focused on bringing clarity to complex issues of national security and international relations. An expert on national security and strategic affairs, he is known for his on the ground reporting from major conflict zones and global summits, including India China standoff, the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, and the rise of ISIS in the Middle East. Born in Kashmir, he and his family were forced into exile due to terrorism, a journey that has influenced his work and public speaking. He is a prominent voice in the Kashmiri Pandit community and was a co founder of Roots in Kashmir, a youth initiative raising awareness about communities' displacement. Aditya ji has received numerous honors, including the Jet Malani Prize for Journalism in Service of Humanity, the Red Ink Award, and Dev Rishi Narad Samman for overall excellence in journalism. Finally, I also found he has got around 62K followers in Instagram. I have not looked at Facebook, and I've been reading all your postings, Aditya ji. I just can't believe I could we could get you for few minutes in our program amidst your tight schedule, as you have been covering so much of what is going on under terrorism. Thank you once again for joining, and please take
Thank you
over.
very much. Uh, Firstly, it's not me, but I think I am fortunate to be here amongst you all. I, humbly thank Kanchi Kamakoti Peetam and all the organizers in association with this has been done. Last time I, of course, remember my lifetime experience getting blessings from the Shankaracharya himself was, unreal experience. So I am really grateful that for the second time I have the great opportunity to be here and share whatever little I can explain from my experiences on Jammu and Kashmir or geopolitics.
No, that's really great. I've been seeing your media postings. I see that you're shaking hands with Netanyahu the other day with Australian Prime Minister, and then Sheikh Hasina. In between, I could see Modi ji greeting you, and with all this tight schedule, it's not easy to come and then spend time with us, as every minute counts for covering the global activities for you. So please share with us on this terrorism. Incidentally, although I put like months after Pahalgam, today marks the seventh month. Exactly, it happened on April 22nd. So we just completed, 7 months. So if you could give a total background information that you have on this, so that we will know what is happening currently in Kashmir now.
I'll give a brief introduction of maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then probably we can take any questions that you may have or others may want to ask. Uh, we saw in April this year Pahalgam terror attack happening. Like anybody else, I was engaged in my daily life. I was sitting in my cubicle inside my office. At that time, I used to work with the TV9 network. And somebody, a source, called me and said that he sent me a message, a small message, which usually what happens is if a PCR call to the police is made, so they register a message, whatever the person says or complains, and that message is reflected to everyone if it is a very serious message. So it said it was a message by a female person. I'm not naming her. She called that my husband has been shot and he's not responding. He's been shot in the head. And this is the phone number from which the message came. And this seemed to be a tourist, and this seems to be a tourist spot in the upper reaches of Pahalgam. Once I received this message, it almost became clear that if somebody has been shot in the head, it's 99% sure that that person is almost not going to survive, and that too at a point blank range, at a close range. I immediately called the PCR. I called my sources within the police. They said, yes, we have got this message. And since it's the upper reaches, it's about 4 to 5 kilometers from the main area of Pahalgam. It will take a little time because people have to take horses or donkeys or, they'll have to travel on foot to that area. So it took about 20 to 30 minutes for the forces to reach that exact spot. Once the forces reached that spot, they found absolute mayhem all across. Of course, it took a little time for information to reach us as well. They found dead bodies lying all across. They found people had vacated that entire area completely. And they found that this was a tourist area, a very popular tourist area in South Kashmir. And usually, what happens is that there's an understanding that there will not be a terror attack in a tourist area. This was an unsaid understanding in the Kashmir Valley for decades together. Although, terrorists had not said that we will not attack a tourist space, and the forces also did not say that there will not be an attack. But usually it did not happen because it would hamper the economy of the local Kashmiris, mainly Kashmiri Muslims. But in this particular case, when the bodies came out, etc., initially it was said that maybe 1 or 5 people were killed. But three senior sources told me within 1.5 hours of the incident that 27 people, 25 to 27 people had been killed. Now, I was in a shock that should I carry this news or not? Because all across the national media, only the report that was coming was one person died, or maybe 5 people died. Nothing more than that. But once I received the first video, I could see the dead bodies, and there were perhaps, more than 8 or 9 dead bodies that I could count in that particular video. And I saw something very serious in that particular video. I saw a dead body lying with the trousers removed, and the lady in that video saying that the terrorists checked the religion, asked them to tell them the religion, put the trousers down, and then fired at the people. And I was the first person to report this, that the religion was checked. I personally, I'm not giving myself credit, but I don't know if I had not reported this, that the religion was not checked, whether ever this would have come out or not. I'm seriously, questioning, because the reportage, whatever comes out from Kashmir, etc., is a very filtered or toned down version of a lot of things that often comes. And this is for the first time within an hour of the incident, this video came, and I put it out on social media immediately. That here's the video. The lady is saying that the religion was checked, and because he was a Hindu, he was killed. And then this question of whether I should put out that 27 people were killed or not. But then I took a call because three senior sources from different departments, from intelligence agency, from police, from army, had confirmed. So I was the first to put out all across on social media and on TV9 that 26 people, 27 at that time, I had information of 27, which was wrong. 26 were killed. So I put out 27 people had died. And I started receiving calls from everywhere, in Delhi, from the government, from the opposition, from the media, from my friends, that who is telling you this? How is this possible? It has not come out anywhere. Nobody's confirming, etc. I said, people have confirmed to me. And it was only by late night or maybe early morning next day that the extent of the damage really came out, because the dead bodies had to be retrieved from the Baisaran to main Pahalgam, and then taken to the Anantnag main hospital, district hospital, and then of course the postmortem, this and that. And there is of course a shock factor, because the JNK police and the government also did not expect this kind of an attack really happening, because for years together, at least since the abrogation of 370 and since Pulwama, we had not seen an attack of this scale happening. And the narrative on ground all across and from the government also was that there is a certain kind of normalcy where tourists are returning, and we spoke last time about it as well. When so many tourists are coming, record tourists are coming, there is almost traffic jam all across in the Kashmir Valley, no space in hotels. I mean, there is a boom that had come. And perhaps Pakistan was desperate because they did not want this boom to continue. One. Second, there were a lot of activities happening in Balochistan. There was for the first time ever in history, there was a train that was hijacked in Balochistan. And when that train was hijacked by Baloch rebels, it led to again about 20 to 30 people being killed, mostly from the Pakistani forces, because that train was used to fetch the Pakistani forces from one location in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to Balochistan. And many in Pakistan and many in the Pakistani commentators and media said that this was a revenge for what happened in Balochistan, because the Pakistani government and the army feels that whatever is happening in Balochistan is being done by India. I don't know how they believe this or what kind of a mindset this is, but initially reports what came was that this is a revenge for Balochistan. And then, of course, next day, as I said, the list came out. It was said that 26 people had died, including one Nepalese national, and all of them almost were Hindus. There was one, local Muslim who was a person who was along with that horse, probably killed accidentally, or maybe something else. But mostly 25 Hindus were killed. They were killed because they were Hindus. All of them were men, and they were killed to convey a message. The message was that the Pakistan army has changed its attitudes towards the conflict in Jammu and Kashmir, that the Pakistan army and its proxy groups are very much alive. The terrorism in the Kashmir Valley is not over. And it wanted to bust this myth of a certain normalcy and progress that has been achieved in Jammu and Kashmir over the last many years. What had also happened, and it came out late, was that the females who were not killed and they were spared were told, at least one or two of them were told, that we are sparing you because you can now go to the Prime Minister, Modi, and tell him what happened here. So it was a direct attack on India. It was a direct attack on India's sovereignty, on territorial integrity, and of course, it was an attack on India's Prime Minister, a threat that was given to India's Prime Minister. And it so happened, I would just call it probably luck, that I was having dinner with a very senior official from Israel, probably maybe a month or maybe more, month or two before the Pahalgam terror attack. And while I was having dinner with him, in fact, there were many people there. There were other many journalists, but somebody introduced us. So he left his plate. I will not name him because he's still in service. So he kept his plate down and he came towards me. I don't know why. I don't know if he knew me from before or whatever. And then he told me in my ear that be careful. I said, what happened? He said, something big is going to happen. And he said this in the context of Jammu and Kashmir because we were discussing certain aspects of Jammu and Kashmir. And I told him, I'm from Jammu and Kashmir. And he said, be careful. Something big is brewing and is going to happen. Now, at that time, I did not relate. I almost thought in the context of Hamas and other groups, but probably the Israeli intelligence had some knowledge of some activities that were happening, going to reshape the geopolitics of South Asia in the context of India and Pakistan. And I had digged a little more into it. And if you remember, in February earlier this year, a group of Hamas commanders and terrorists had visited Pakistan. Not only Pakistan, they had visited Pakistan occupied Kashmir and they had held a rally with Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. There are videos that are available. And I did a story on the basis of the videos that I accessed. And I said that something is brewing. And I got some intelligence reports also. And I made a story that India should be prepared for the next wave of jihadi terrorism that is about to knock on our doors. This was my article on somewhere around 18th or 19th of February 2025. And bang, in the third week of or fourth week of April, we had this brutal terror attack, reshaping the dynamics of proxy terrorism, reshaping whatever had happened. Because you would remember that many people in India got shocked that 25 Hindus were killed in such a brutal fashion. But I reminded them on television at that time and on social media that this is not the first time. This was the basis of the terrorism that happened more than 3 decades ago in the Kashmir Valley. There was a complete annihilation, there was a complete ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Kashmiri Hindus, the Pandits from the valley, for no reason, because Kashmiri Pandits always considered themselves as Indians first. And at that time also, the strategy was same. There were slogans, Raliv, Galiv or Salif, which means that you either convert or you perish and die or you leave this land. This is not your land. And then there were slogans coming from the mosques that we will, of course, achieve this freedom, but we want you, Kashmiri Pandit men, to leave and leave behind your female, your wives, your mothers, and your daughters. This was the kind of jihad or the radicalization that was there. So this is nothing new. It had happened in 1990. Perhaps most of India was, unaware, and I personally have seen that people were unaware because in my journalistic career of last 18 years, I've traveled almost to all the states in India, and whenever I tell them that I'm Kashmiri Pandit, they do not know about what, at least they do not know the extent of brutal terrorism that Kashmiri Pandits faced. Our houses destroyed completely, temples desecrated, and they do not know the kind of rich history that Kashmir has, from Adi Shankaracharya to the Sharda temple to Lal Ded to the Abhinav Gupt to the Kashmir Shaivism. People are not aware. I think it is only in the last decade or so there has been a certain push that has led to some kind of a awareness all across. Even today, I would say there is substantial population even now that does not know the extent. And one question that is often asked to me that angers me so much is that why did you not fight back? How does one fight back? Do we have the permission from the government of India to pick up the gun and then start killing people in Kashmir? Do we have the permission from the police, the army, the CRPF that we as a Kashmiri Pandit will form a kind of a rebel force and start killing terrorists in the valley or overground workers? That's not how things function. Kashmiri Pandits have been always known for their resilience because of their education, because of the values that they bring in, because of the rich, cultural legacy that they have, because of the kind of knowledge that they imprinted not just in Jammu and Kashmir but all across the valley. We have great scholars. We have a great list of learned men from each and every perspective in history. My grandfather, Pandit Jankinath Kaul, he has written books, such as Bhavani Nam Sahasrasruti, like Panchastavi. And my, you know, great grandfather from the paternal side is Master Samsar Chand Kaul, Asia's first ornithologist, who came much before Salim Ali. And so people, this is just an example of my family, but this is almost common in each and every family in the Kashmir Valley. We have so many educators, etc., that have come in. So my point is that people are not aware, and even today, the real story often doesn't come out unless a person wants to dig in. When the Kashmir files came in, there was a lot of controversy and propaganda. People were questioning. Instead of asking Kashmiri Pandits, is this true or not? People started saying that no, this is rubbish. This never happened. Arey bhai, I mean, you at least ask Kashmiri Pandits, the primary victims of the genocide, whether this happened or not. Of course, it happened. Of course, this is just 5 or 10% of what happened. The brutality was worse. Even today, when you will visit Pulwama and Shopian, and those houses of Kashmiri Pandits have become a complete ghost towns, you will see the extent of damage that has happened. I mean, even today, this new film Baramulla, which has come in, although the film is a fictional film, etc., a little bit of a ghost story, etc. But towards the end, last 30 minutes, I would urge people to watch this film because the essence and the power of Kashmir is shown in that film. And I don't want to ruin the fun for people, but I'll tell them that there is a lady, a Muslim lady, that is shown that she stays in a very old Kashmiri Pandit house. And suddenly she finds something unusual happening in this area, and she enters a room, old room which is closed for decades, etc. And suddenly she finds a temple, and that room has so much of energy. And suddenly there is, Shiv Stotram that was written by, Kashmiri version, which was written by Pandit Premnath Shastri. That, is in the film suddenly, and I had tears because since I could gain sense, I have heard since decades this particular hymn, and it is very powerful. It is, it shakes us completely. And this is the essence. So I will not ruin the story, but in the film Baramulla also, it talks about how that house had Kashmiri Pandits and everyone was killed. And probably, there was some energy that was left in that house, which led to a lot of crisis, etc. Anyways, so this is what has been happening in the valley. Now, we are today talking about Kashmir uh, after Pahalgam. But the reality of the matter is that it's not just after Pahalgam. It is after Pahalgam, it is after Operation Sindoor, and it is also after the Delhi bomb blast, the Red Fort blast that has happened. In my kind of a geopolitical dictionary, at least for the next 5 to 10 years, over a decade, I will now refer to Kashmir not as pre or post Article 370. That will obviously, from the policy standpoint, remain so. It will now remain so pre and post Pahalgam. because the dynamics and there's a complete paradigm shift in the kind of terrorism that has been unleashed in the people. And briefly, I would like to also talk about Operation Sindoor because there are a lot of myths and controversies around that as well. I haven't slept that entire week when the Operation Sindoor began. I generally sleep around 1 or 2 a.m. So I was surfing my phone at 1 a.m. on the 7th, between 6th and 7th, when suddenly I'm on a lot of WhatsApp groups of POK as well. Although I don't understand Urdu, but I get a lot of information. I try to translate it and read. So I got a message saying that here's a video of a big blast that has taken place near Muzaffarabad, and it seems that there are jets of India who have come and done this. Within seconds, there was another such video that came in from Kotli, and I immediately woke up my office. I received the videos around 1:10, between 1 and 1:10, and 1:15 I woke up everybody, and at 1:28 I put out my first tweet that a major attack has happened in Muzaffarabad and all this has happened. Next day, the DGMO and others did a press conference and they confirmed that it was at 1:02 or 1:04 that the attack had begun, and at 1:29, at 1:28 the attack had been over. So it so happens at 1:28 the attack was over, and my first tweet went just after 1:28 on this entire attack. So what also happened, you mentioned my Instagram, which has 62,000 followers, but my X account, which is Twitter, has 7 lakh followers. So immediately when I put out, it went viral all across that something had begun. And during the course of those 7 days, I had 4 lakh more followers on Twitter because of the information that I was putting out live, of obviously not compromising on operation, etc. But whenever I got confirmed information from army, police, government, etc., I used to put it out. So attack had begun, and India had launched attack on 9 different terror camps or terror headquarters. And rest is history. People have followed it very closely of how it continued. They attacked us back in a certain way. There were no casualties really on the Indian side, but there were multiple casualties on the Pakistani side. There were funerals that were held, videos or photos of which really came out where terrorists' funerals were happening, and the Pakistan army, the police, the district administration was a part of it. And then when they continued to engage in confrontation, India also hit multiple, at least 6 to 9 different places, which were the Pakistani air bases, including the Noor Khan base, which is in Rawalpindi. That's where the Pakistan Army Chief, the so-called Field Marshal, stays. And Jacobabad and Sargoda and all the different areas. In fact, in one area, you could see that massive crater that was formed. In fact, at least 2 air bases have still not opened after 7 months of the Operation Sindoor. So I think in the last 25 years, ever since Kargil, this has been the most brutal war, confrontation, or whatever you would like to call it, between India and Pakistan. And I think many may question, why did we stop it? We should have decimated Pakistan. We should have taken back POK, this and that. It's not easy, one. And that's not how geopolitics or the, war really functions. We had a certain target in mind and we achieved that target. And we did not want a full-fledged war because that is the reality. That is what somebody wants. So that was perhaps China wants that, it wants to bleed India completely, between India and Pakistan so that our resources, completely malfunction, we decrease our economic strength, etc. Our money, pumps into defense, etc. And then China's rise, which is already happening, continues. The boom continues. So there are, vested interests all across, which we have to be very careful about, who do not want India's rise, India's progress, India's diplomatic prowess all across, and especially in a world, a deeply divided world where the Russia-Ukraine conflict has been happening, the Israel-Hamas conflict has been happening, and India has taken a very unique position of a strategic autonomy, where India says that our own concerns, our own national interest, our interest of the people will be of paramount. We will not, be subjugated into, joining one camp against the other. We will not, this is not an India of 1947. You've always seen India with this prism of India being a land of snake charmers or poor people who do not have enough, etc. But India has proven its diplomatic prowess. India has proven, everything, not just diplomacy, in each and every field. And that's why the Westerners are now copying us, from yoga to meditation to everything else, to the philosophy, to the Kashmir Shaivism, Vaishnavism, etc. Everything is being copied. So the reality of the matter is that people are upset, people are angry, and people cannot believe this fact that it's India which is calling out, hypocrisy of the Western community, and it's India which has an independent position on several important critical security and geopolitical issues. So we have to be very careful. There are vested interests all across, and that's why we saw, because I was following this from each and every angle, we had a situation where US did intervene in this matter. We had phone calls that were received by people, but that did not lead to a certain situation where the Trump more than 60 times in the last 7 months has now said that trade or tariff resulted in a ceasefire. That's not the reality. The reality of the matter was that Americans said that, we should not have a war. The Pakistanis want a ceasefire. And the Indians said that, see, on the matters of Jammu and Kashmir, etc., we have a bilateral kind of a structure dialogue, and we do not expect and we do not accept any kind of third party intervention. So if Pakistan directly calls us and says that we want a ceasefire, we'll think about it. So that's when the Americans went to Pakistanis and said that, boss, this is the real thing. Ceasefire can happen, but you have to directly approach them. And then the DGMO requested, Pakistani DGMO requested the Indian DGMO, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, at perhaps 1 p.m. on 10th, that we need to have a ceasefire. So at 1 p.m. this happened. At 3 p.m., I think between 3 and 3:30, there was a call that happened between the DGMOs, and finally a ceasefire was reached after Pakistanis begged India for a ceasefire, because they knew what the reality was. Their air bases were completely decimated. I mean, you only believe that in the last 6 to 7 months, if at least two of the air bases have not been opened, so what kind of a damage would have happened there? Not just at the tarmac, where the tarmac and the roads have been completely decimated and destroyed, but also their hangars where the aircrafts have been kept. And there are a lot of speculations and rumors on Indian jets being destroyed, this and that, even though even one photograph or video has not come out. But Pakistanis or the Americans have never spoken about the Pakistani jets that have been destroyed. Of course, Trump says that 8 jets have been destroyed. But why doesn't he answer that among those 8, how many of the Pakistani jets or the American jets who were with Pakistan were destroyed in the hangar in Noor Khan base, in Jacobabad, in Sargoda, and other places? So Rahim Yar Khan and other places. So the reality of the matter is India did the most brutal counter-offensive against Pakistan in those days. A lot of it came in media, a lot of it did not come. But one thing that was different from what happened during Balakot is that in Balakot, people asked questions saying that we don't have a video, we don't have evidence. You hit Pakistan, you hit Jaish-e-Mohammed in Balakot in 2019, but where is the evidence? Where is the video? And then the Pakistanis said, no, no, only trees and crows were harmed in this entire exercise, trying to fool people, complete misinformation. This time, when the first attack happened in Muzaffarabad, in Kotli, in Bawalpur, and other places, it was Pakistani citizens. It was Pakistani nationals who were creating, making videos and then putting across on the social media. So this time the proof was so much that the Pakistanis were in shock. They didn't know what to say. I mean, I remember from Bawalpur and Punjab in Pakistan and other places, people driving that motorcycle, and suddenly there are BrahMos and other, these rockets
Yes,
and
yes.
missiles that are coming in. These are out and open. So Pakistanis were showing the destruction that is happening in Noor Khan base in Rawalpindi, in Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters in Bawalpur, in Lashkar-e-Toiba headquarters in Muridke, in the terror camps of Kotli and other places. So from Pahalgam to Operation Sindoor. And then there was a murmur all across in the intelligence community and the security apparatus that Pakistan will do something more. This is not enough. They might do something. We were chatting. I was regularly chatting on a daily basis that maybe it'll happen in 6 months, maybe it'll happen in a year or so, but something will happen. And then I went to Kashmir recently when I joined NDTV. I was told by my office that we are organizing a Sonu Nigam concert, so you should also help with it. So it was for the first time that Sonu Nigam was traveling to Kashmir for a concert, and it was unprecedented. 6 months after Pahalgam, unheard of, where thousands of Kashmiris would attend. So I went there again. I met a lot of security people, and they told me that there are inputs. Something might happen. We do not know what, but Pakistanis are desperate. And Asim Munir is the most radical of the Pakistani army chief after Ziaul Haq. And he has given an open hand to all these proxy groups, and something could happen. In fact, again, coincidence that a week before Red Fort, I wrote an article saying that again Pakistan was up to something. There were meetings that were held in POK and other places, and something was going to happen. But again, I wrote that something was going to happen in Jammu and Kashmir. I did not know that while the conspiracy, the hatchers, the handlers, the people involved were from Jammu and Kashmir, but they were planning to strike somewhere else. But since I have been tracking Jaish-e Mohammed since last decade or so, and I have been trying to analyze Masood Azhar and their activities, reading about their propaganda, etc. I had spoken about this in detail that whenever an attack happens next after Operation Sindoor, it will not be in Jammu and Kashmir. I wish I had written about it, people believed me, but I've spoken often that it is because, if you see the propaganda videos and articles of Masood Azhar, Masood Azhar is this person who was captured by India many, many years ago. But when in 99, the IC 814 hijacking happened in Nepal, and then the plane was taken from India to Amritsar to Dubai to Kandahar in Afghanistan. There were talks between Ajit Doval. Ajit Doval was not the senior most, there were others, but Mr. Doval was also there. So there were negotiations with the terrorists. And the hijackers were, of course, from the Pakistani terror groups, and they were relatives of Masood Azhar, and they wanted three terrorists. One was, of course, Masood Azhar, one was Mushtaq Latram, and one was Umar Saeed. Umar Saeed became later the deadly force behind a lot of activities of Al Qaeda and others, and he's the one who killed that Wall Street Journal journalist Daniel Pearl. He beheaded him later many years ago. So, in that negotiation, these three terrorists were released. And Masood Azhar, after being released in Kandahar with the help of the Taliban at that particular time, went to Pakistan again. And by the Pakistani deep state, he was given an area in Balakot. And Balakot was the first terror headquarters and camps of the Jaish-e-Mohammed that were established around 2001. And from Balakot, while the terror camp ran there, Bawalpur was the headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed that started. So, if you study the pattern of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Masood Azhar, you will realize that their propaganda is in the context of Jammu and Kashmir. But repeatedly, their references are against Red Fort at Delhi, against Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh, and several such iconic locations. But main Red Fort in Delhi and Ayodhya in Jammu in Uttar Pradesh. So I almost felt that when Operation Sindoor happened and relatives and family members of Masood Azhar were killed, so 100% there will be some reaction and revenge that will happen, and it will be in Delhi or UP or Gujarat or Maharashtra somewhere else, but it will not be in Jammu and Kashmir. They would want a much deadlier response to it. But when this Jaish-e-Mohammed conspiracy was unearthed, again, I'll give you an example of what happened with me. On the 10th morning, 10th November morning, we got an input that Jammu and Kashmir Police Association with Haryana Police had busted a huge conspiracy of Jaish-e-Mohammed in Faridabad area of Haryana. Faridabad is roughly, just 10 or 15 kilometers or 20 kilometers from where I'm staying. And immediately I rushed to Faridabad. So and I realized that this was in Faridabad, but this was back up beyond. It was almost 52 kilometers from where I was staying. So I took more than 1.5 hours to reach there. Once I reached there, I saw that 2,900 kgs of ammonium nitrate, which was a huge cache, was captured. They were terror operatives of Jaish-e-Mohammed who were captured, who were interestingly doctors, and there were some Maulvis who were captured as well. So slowly and steadily things came out, but there was a press conference by Haryana police stating that it's a big catch, they've been busted, etc. What the police did not realize, all they knew that there are one or two elements, key elements, who have escaped and who are not there. But they did not know that these are also crucial to this entire investigation. They had thought that they had caught the entire ammunition, so now nothing can happen. So there was some problem in coordination or analyzing what had happened. Probably the police jumped the gun and immediately did a press conference, which shouldn't have happened at that time. And I was in Faridabad till about 5:30 p.m. on 10th of November, and I left for home. The moment I was about to reach home at around 7:15, 7:20, I got a phone call that there's been some incident at Red Fort, some kind of a blast that had happened, either a CNG blast or some cylinder blast, and which had led to a lot of casualties. And there is complete mayhem. The first videos that we received was of complete mayhem. A lot of fire, vehicles completely charred and burning, and fire brigade trying to rescue. I immediately took a U-turn, didn't enter home, and I left for Red Fort. What I saw there cannot be described in words. I reached around maybe around 8:20 or 8:25, and I saw, of course, a lot of media, a lot of police, roads that were blocked completely. So I had to walk about 2 kilometers to reach that spot. And I saw flesh and a lot of organs completely decimated, lying all across in that 200 to 300-meter range. And although the area was barricaded, but I could see that the vehicle at the main red light outside Red Fort, and this was bang opposite the Gauri Shankar temple. I can describe you. Here is the Red Fort. Here is the Gauri Shankar temple. Next to Gauri Shankar temple is the Jain temple, and bang in the middle is the main red light, which is called the Subhash Chowk. And that's where, at the red light, the blast had happened. And immediately I got phone calls from agencies and MHA, etc. Their initial analysis was that this was a desperate act, because they thought that this particular person thought that his entire module has been busted. So clearly he was desperate. He spent 3 hours in the parking lot thinking what to do. And then he thought that probably evening is the best time, where there will be a lot of tourists, international people, etc., office goers and people leaving the market. And that was the time for mass casualties. We also came to know later that they had done Reiki of a lot of other places, including Connaught Place, including Constitution Club, and a lot of other places, temples, etc., in Delhi, because they wanted mass casualties. But it is just about 3 days back that this video of Umar came out saying that it was suicide bombing, and he was defending suicide bombing as martyrdom. And then it became amply clear that it was not a desperate act. It was, obviously planned, conspired, very well planned. And they wanted to do it. Whether they wanted to do it at that particular time, maybe later in a much more bigger scale, brutal scale, could be a reality. But in this particular manner, I think, uh, again, the game of terrorism, the entire challenge of terrorism has shifted completely. What we have been witnessing over the last many years, the proxy war, was contained to a level. I say this because, I have been a resident of Delhi for more than 3 decades now. And I have seen personally bomb blasts taking place in 2005, 2008, and 2011. Some of them brutal, and some of them serial blasts as well. But never have I seen in the last 14 years any major terror attack happening in India's national capital. And that was because India's intelligence has been very strong, India's security forces have been very strong, and there's a close coordination that's been happening. There is something that has happened. Some in Hindi, as we say, some kuch chook ho gayi hai. There is some element of coordination miss which has happened, which led to this attack. Because it was initially an operation of the JNK police. Probably the IB or the Delhi Police Special Cell or other agencies did not know about it. I don't know. I mean, it is for the MHA and it is for India's national security apparatus to threadbare investigate what went wrong. But we can't go wrong each time. And that is the challenge now. I think we need to be prepared. There can be attempts at much bigger attacks in Delhi, in Ayodhya, in other places. And now that, you know, 6 months before it was in Pahalgam, 6 months later in Delhi, so Asim Munir would want to keep this momentum in the sense that he would want this to continue, to make this normal. And interesting, what they are doing is also They are choosing educated Kashmiri men, so-called educated. I wouldn't call them educated. I think they are the most radical and most uneducated men. But in this case, they were doctors. They were people who were meant to save lives. They ideally should have been in hospitals and, care centers protecting people. But instead, they were engaged in becoming suicide bombers. They were making bombs. They were collecting ammunition. They were conspiring to kill people, fellow Indians, etc. So, what Pakistan is smartly doing, instead of using their own terrorists in terror acts, they are trying to radicalize normal Kashmiris and trying to show this as an indigenous kind of a movement where Kashmiris or Indians themselves are trying to do this. That's not the truth or the reality. If you study the radicalization pattern, if you study the recruitment, etc., the recruitment in Jammu and Kashmir has come down to a massive scale, where this year only one terrorist in Jammu and Kashmir has been recruited. But the radicalization is deep. And I say this always. I think I spoke this about this last time as well. That you will kill terrorists, you will eliminate them. But how will you kill terrorism? In the past, also, I've said that radicals can be arrested, they can be put behind the bars. But how will you end radicalization? Radicalization is the roots to terrorism. So that is the biggest challenge in north, in Jammu and Kashmir, but that is the biggest challenge in south as well. The Over the last decade or so, the ISIS modules that have been picked up, or the radicalization of people who've joined Al Qaeda or other groups, young, again, educated people, has been because they were radicalized. And are there any de-radicalization programs at mass level where national, international experts on de-radicalization are involved? Programs that actually yield results, awareness that is spread. I don't see much of it happening. So that is the reality of the matter. As government of India as a nation, as a society, we need to realize that there is a growing threat, and this threat will remain. Are we prepared for it? What are the our contingency plans? Because this kind of a radicalization that we have seen over the last few decades in Kashmir is now being seen in Kerala, is now being seen in Assam, is now being seen in West Bengal, in parts of Maharashtra, in parts of Karnataka. So how will this change? How will we end this? Is the biggest challenge for the security forces. And Kashmir is a challenge of a different kind. One is, of course, the policy changes that would have been there, and we did it successfully, this abrogation, etc., and that should continue. The development, etc., tourism, etc., will continue. But the radicalization part, where a significant portion of the society has been radicalized to a massive level, is shocking. In fact, I would lastly give an example and then I'll hold my thought. Is when we were doing the Sonu Nigam concert in Kashmir, there were a lot of boycott calls that were given by the local Maulvis. Why? Because they do not want progress. They do not want the kind of progressive mindset that is in Delhi or Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or West Bengal or other places. They do not want that progressive thought to enter Kashmir Valley. More than a decade ago, there was a girls' band that came in Kashmir and they had a fatwa against them. They did not allow them to function. There's a very, I think, a famous actress, Zaira Wasim, who was part of a film of Amir Khan, and she became very successful. But she had to quit because there was pressure from the society that what are you doing? This cannot be tolerated. So there is a different kind of ghettoization. There is a different kind of radicalization, and a kind of an Islamist belief which is shocking, that is infested in the Kashmir Valley. And there is a collective silence that is shocking. After Pahalgam, we did see protests erupting where people came out because there was economic problem. Because, in the last 10 years, as I said, particularly last 4 to 5 years, there's been an economic boom that we have never seen in the Kashmir Valley. And suddenly after Pahalgam, everything shut from 200%, 300% sales in hotels, in cars, in flights, etc., to less than 10%. Imagine the kind of brutal attack that has happened on the economy of the tourism in the Kashmir Valley. So that's why we saw protests. That's why we saw frustration, people abusing Pakistan, etc. But it cannot be just because you're not earning money. It has to come from your heart. It needs to come from your mind, heart, and soul, that you cannot believe in terrorism. There cannot be good terror and bad terror. Where Kashmiri Pandits and Hindus and migrant workers are killed, you remain silent. And when your economy is disturbed, you speak up against terrorism. So this is the reality of the matter. I think a lot of geopolitical considerations from Balochistan to what's happening in Pakistan currently, who's leading Pakistan and Pakistan army, have a lot of role to play in what's happening in the Kashmir Valley, and we need to be prepared for it. I mean, we haven't seen the end of it. I think, although many say that the war is over, I don't feel that. As many say in the national security apparatus that Operation Sindoor is on, I believe Pakistan will continue to mess up, and we will have to respond in a much stronger way.
We just couldn't say any word. Your reporting is you brought us up to speed starting from 7 months ago, and the great summary. Before I say a few words, I want to introduce some of our uh, people who are waiting to talk to you. One is Geeta Mohan, currently awareness educator in a women well-being initiative, and also a trust exclusively focuses on early detection of cancer. She is a consultant for Tamil Nadu Health System Project, and she is also a media personality. The reason why she is here, she is working on a book on Kashmir, and they've been regularly talking to me and also listen to all our programs. She wanted to come and then listen to you because that is going to give the current status. We are only talking about Pandit issue. Now we have Beena Butki. You probably know her. Beena Butki has been, visiting Kashmir regularly, and she is also doing a lot of programs in Kashmir. Her latest initiative is a Yajnopavit ceremony, which she did like 3 times so far. I have attended one,
Yeah,
and she was
I read
also
about
doing.
it. Yeah.
You read about it.
Yeah.
So, what you said one point before I hand over to them, you mentioned that this is nothing new, which is absolutely true. Thanks to media, whole India is watching everything, and we are able to see what should have been in 1990 Exodus. And at that time, nothing would have been reported. Only after 2 days, we'll be reading in the press. Now it's instantaneous. Now, listening to you, most of them look like a classified information. I'm so worried how you are able to manage to go and visit all these places. Not so dangerous the way it is happening, or you think the terror is going to spread? It is no longer just a Kashmiri Pandit issue. That is what is happening now, from what you have been saying with the involvement of Pakistan. And let me ask Beena Butki to ask if she has any questions on this before we sum up later on. Yes, Beena ji.
Namaskar, pranam.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Binaji,
Yes.
you have been engaging, with Kashmir, conducting functions which we can never think of. Every time you go there, you appear on Kashmiri TV, and
Yes.
Yajnopavit ceremony you conducted 3 times so far. That is
Yeah.
one way of keeping Kashmir engaged. After listening to Aditya ji, isn't it a bit scary now to visit Kashmir?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank Kachimat Swami Vijendra Saraswati Swamingal, because of him, I have started this program, Yagnopavit, and every year before Yagnopavit, I am always going to Swamiji and taking blessing from him. See, whatever we are, but we should not forget our culture. Because of culture only, you are standing, because people came to know. Because same thing, we are wearing this de jure. If all will remove and all will not wear this de jure, how you will prove your identity? Because de jure, atuhur, this is our identity. Same thing, Yagnopavit. Yagnopavit means ki after the Yagnopavit, that third ceremony, you become a Hindu, Brahmin. And second thing, even in South, when they are doing this Yagnopavit ceremony, they are making a Kashmir map, and there only they are taking to child and putting a thread. So if you are making it a map and all these things, After that, you are putting thread and everything. Then why don't you come to Srinagar, same place where you can do all this ceremony? Because Kachimat Swamiji told me to unite all the Hindus, not only Kashmiri Pandit or South Indian this Hindu, unite all the Hindus, and at least they should do all the rituals, ceremonies, because you will find nowadays, whether it is a Hindu or a Muslim or Sikh, everybody they just cut short the rituals. Nobody is having time to do all these things. Because when I went to USA and UK, I met so many Kashmiri families. They don't know so many things. After that, coming from that place, I went and meet Swamiji, Vijendra Saraswati ji, this Shankaracharya ji. He only started this program, and this year I have done 3 times. But I have. I wanted to inform you one more thing. I was there, Srinagar, only for 1 week. 1 week means 10 days. I have done all the rituals, everything, but I was receiving a telephone from someone called me, "Ki do your work and go back. Do your work." 3 times he called me. So I was little bit upset, because this time one family was Azerbaijan, one family was from Australia, one family was Holland, and one was from Maharashtra. So I was little bit worried कि जैसे वो लोग आए हैं अच्छी तरह से अपने घर पहुंच जाए, because थोड़ा सा दिमाग में था, but I have left everything to God कि whatever is your desire, because हमने अपना कर्म किया, now you should help me. So anyway, and second thing, even I spoke in TV also. This time, I feel personally atmosphere was little bit different. Because when I reached Srinagar, from that day only, I found that something is here, something is changed, or people are frustrated, and so many things I have acknowledged, but I was worried for that foreign families कि वो अच्छी तरह से अपने घर वापस पहुंच जाए, और मेरा ये फंक्शन भी अच्छी तरह से हो जाए. इवन इन खीर भवानी ऑल्सो आई फाउंड कि वहां लोग ही नहीं है, सब चले गए हैं. दे जो वहां परमानेंटली रहते थे वो भी यहाँ नहीं थे. तो आई वॉज वेरी अपसेट ऑल्सो कि पता नहीं हो पाएगा, नहीं हो पाएगा, कैसे होगा. बट समहाउ बाय द ग्रेस ऑफ माता खीर भवानी, program was done nicely और अच्छी तरह से हो गया. And within after 10 days, I didn't allow anyone to go Pahalgam, Gulmarg or anywhere. I was just engaging them. कुछ ना कुछ चीजों में मैं उनको engage करती थी कि वो कहीं नहीं जाए. But I was surprised. I wanted to take them Sharda temple. You know, my driver told me, Auntie, don't go this year, go next time. So I was surprised. Why he is telling me कि don't go this time, make a program next year. So, but you know, being a lady, and I have seen 2010, I am going regularly. So I thought कि maybe something is happening, because I have seen मतलब on my own eyes कि totally people are changed, frustrated, and they were telling something, they were doing something, and so many changes were there. Even one family, I wanted to go there and I wanted to stay there because his mother was not well. I wanted to, you know, he told me straight blank, okay, you can come for half an hour, but after that you go and stay wherever you are staying. Don't make a plan to stay in my house. So I was a little bit surprised, to be very frank. He is a Muslim family, because mother was not well. So I thought ki after dinner, I will go there. I will stay there only, and morning 5 o'clock, I will be back in my Kheer Bhavani. So I was surprised. He didn't allow me. He told me, no, auntie, you are my just like mother. But I don't want ki anything should happen. So it is better. Come, just stay for an hour and after that you should go back. I was surprised. But whom to talk, I can't say to anyone. And I was just thinking कि चलो देखते हैं क्या होता है, what will happen. But something was changed in, because from 21st to 31st I was there only, but I have seen there only the atmosphere was changed. People are different way, they are behaving in different way, but some people, they just warn me, "Hey, do your function and go back." So because this time I have not done my seminar, only Yagnopavit function I have done, because I want ki all the Hindus, after this so many things, whether atmosphere is changed or something is changed, people are, because those who have attended this Yagnopavit, their age is 28 years, 30 years, 32 years, 26. Nobody was 10 years or 12 years or 13 years. So mostly this Yagnopavit are supposed to do in the age of 10 years, 8 years, 7 years, 12 years. So anyway, at least I'm thankful to those families. At least they come and they are doing this, all this Yagnopavit. And I will do regularly. Regularly, next year also I will do it. And even I was doing this Kahnetar also, because people forget that Kahnetar also. That is also a very good and important this ritual. Because if in a family Kahnetar is not done, then if anybody will die in that family, you cannot do this karma and this, whatever is the days, you cannot do it. So that means ki Kahnetar is also a very important ritual. And Yagnopavit is, of course, it's a very important ritual for Hindu, because after that only you become a Kashmiri Pandit or Kashmiri Hindu person. So as long as I can do, I will do it, and I will continue also. And rest, मरना है या जिंदा रहना है, that is up to God. That is not my karam. I will do my karam. Rest, God will look after me. That is not problem. But I am thankful to Shankarji also, ki because of him, at least I can say something. I want ki any Hindu from any part of India, if they want this Yagnopavit from Srinagar, please come. Please come and do this Yagnopavit at Srinagar, Kheer Bhavani. We will do there only, and they can contact me and they can make a program even in any time. This is not, because normally I am doing one in the month of October, but before that also, if any Hindu family is interested, they can contact me. We will go and we will do this ceremony, Yagnopavit third ceremony, and whatever I can do, I will do that also.
No, that's very nice, Binaji. People who are listening to this probably will be in touch with you. And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
before we hand over to Sita, who has just joined, we have been doing Shankar Jayanti functions from 2010,
Yeah.
and last year, this April, this May,
Mhm.
that got cancelled. And Sita will explain. Before I hand over to Sita, you want to say something, Aditya ji?
Yeah. I wish I had met Professor Budki many years back, because in 2005 I had my Yagnopovit. I
Oh,
am wearing
okay.
my this thing here. But what reminded me, she mentioned about Kahanetar. You know what? In Kashmir, we go to our Isht Devi and often do our Kahanetar. So when
Mhm.
I was born, I was taken in a few days, because I was in Kashmir at that time, to Kheer Bhavani, and that's where my Kahanetar happened. And last year in January, I got married. So one of the first, dreams that I had was that I should travel with my family and my wife to Kheer Bhavani. Even though I have a lot of threat in Kashmir and police advised me not to travel. And the same group TRF, which conducted that terror attack in Pahalgam, they have issued a threat against me as well, just a few months ago. But I decided that I have to go. So for the first time in last more than 3 decades, with my family, with my wife, I went to Kashmir immediately after landing. Straight from the airport, we went to Kirwani, and it was a blissful experience, amazing experience, because anybody, even a layman, if he travels to Kirbawani for the first time, can experience the kind of vibrations that are there. It is exceptional to another level. So just that. Thank you.
Yeah, anyway, thank
God
you,
bless you.
Sita, for joining. We will ask Geeta ji to say a few words
Yeah.
as you
I
wanted to
want to
know more
raise
about
one
Kashmir
question.
before I hand
Yeah.
over to Sita.
Yeah. Namaste and good evening to everyone. And first of all, I should thank Kanchi Kamakoti Peetam as well as Shankar ji for giving this wonderful opportunity to join in this session of Kashmir Heritage 104th series. Right. I should also thank Aditya Raj Kaul narrating the whole, incidents of Pahalgam and everything, as though we were there. And thank you so much. And of course, Kashmir from the perspective of common man, right? And every one of us who should want to visit Kashmir at least once in our life, which is a gem in the crown of Mother India. So likewise, but the wind of wisdom and the wind of freedom is not at all there from the date of independence. Though the beauty and the nature plays a what do you say, that chess of their own with each other. Now, I want to raise only one question. That is, you were explaining about the Bahalgam incidents, and after that, Operation Sindoor, and what are the the activities the government had taken. In this angle, I want to raise only one question. See, the media outlets and YouTube ground, everybody extensively they have covered the what are the implementation after the the government has launched the Sindoor operation. Only for few days, especially in the south, we were fully blocked. What is happening in the this Sindoor operation, we do not know. I am raising one question in this. Suppose if this Sindhu operation continues persistently and deeply with pride, will this Delhi incident had happened? I'm asking you, Aditya,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, Geeta ji, I'll briefly answer because people have already heard me for an hour. I'm not sure. I think they're bored enough. But I'll briefly answer. It's a very important question that whether when the Operation Sindoor was on and India was apparently very
Yes,
vigilant, then how
yes,
did this incident really happen? And
Delhi.
that is a question that I'm asking myself also. There are a few operational details that I know, but I do not want to speak about it, not because that the government will take action against me, but because these are
Security
matters of
purpose.
investigation that are happening. But I think there was some problem. Briefly, I'll tell you, it was coordination problem, because usually what happens is that when one agency comes to know about a national level crisis of this kind, for instance, I'm working with an agency and I come to know that there is a terror group that is working and we do not know what they'll do, but they're working on something and they have some modules here and there, so I'll try to track them, etc. But I will simultaneously also inform sister agencies, for instance, NIA, for instance, Delhi Police Special Cell, for instance, the Intelligence Bureau or the RNAW. So in this case, there was some coordination problem. Either the information did not go in time, or people became overconfident that we had busted the entire gang while the main character was missing, the most radicalized person was missing. So overall, I still believe that our national security apparatus is very much prepared, very much strong, very much vigilant. And that is the reason that for past 15 years, we haven't had any kind of a bomb blast in
Yes.
Delhi that used to be very frequent, at least in few years. But this time, I think there was a coordination problem technically, which I could sense. There is a lot more that I know, but I will not speak. I will not jump the gun. But I do hope that while the Operation Sindoor continues, the agencies also speed up their coordination, etc., so that such incidents do not happen again.
Yeah, one more question. During your, all the incidents when you are saying, that is one coordination, what you have mentioned, I have understood. And another thing is the Taliban and, India, the
Yeah.
coordination between these people, will it have some effect on terrorism? Or, how we can go about it? Because, you said, bringing the war is not a good sign of this thing, because all the other countries are expecting the same thing. We will be the loser. That is why we are not doing that. So
Yeah.
now I am raising this question: what about the Taliban? And because they are having good rapport with Indian, this thing at present juncture.
Yeah, I think Geetaji, this is the most significant question that nobody's asking, because what is also happening is that with growing India Taliban ties, with the growing India Afghanistan ties, there's a growing frustration within Pakistan also. Because if you study what has happened over the last few months, is that there is a warlike situation between Pakistan and Afghanistan at the border. There are a lot of casualties that have happened. On the border, there is regular firing, etc. It has gone to that extent that Pakistan and Afghanistan have completely stopped trade, and they're completely shut their border. So no Afghan can go to Pakistan, no Pakistani can go to Afghanistan. The trade via road between India to Afghanistan is also completely shut. So whatever trade that happens between India and Afghanistan is only happening through the air route, a little bit through shipping route, but that is also a problem because the US has sanctioned the Chabar port, and that's why the shipping route is a problem. So there will be an air corridor that will be happening. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I was sitting with Amir Khan Mutaki, who is the foreign minister of Taliban. He was in Delhi, and I had a long chat with him. And interestingly, on Monday, I am going to interview the trade minister of Taliban who is visiting in
Oh,
Delhi. But I can tell you very uh, importantly here that whatever strategic ties or cooperation that we have with Taliban is significant of the ties that culturally and historically we have had with the people of Afghanistan. So this should not be seen only as India being with Taliban in this stage. Geopolitically
okay.
also it is very important that if you travel, I would recommend you to see a lot of videos of bloggers, common bloggers who travel to Afghanistan even during these last 1 or 2 years. And when they go travel to different places from Kabul to Kandahar to Paktia to other places in Afghanistan, and they speak to common people on the road, they love India. They absolutely love India. So that is the kind of cooperation that has been there. India has helped them with education. India has helped them with getting Afghans here to be them in different universities across India. India has helped them with humanitarian aid every time there's been an earthquake, etc. When there was a democratic government, India gave them defense ties, helicopters, etc. The parliament of Afghanistan was made by India. Salma Dam of Afghanistan was made by India. So India's contribution in development of Afghanistan and for cooperation with the people is immense, and that's why there is immense respect and love. So that's what India is trying to do. What briefly I'll also tell you is that when Taliban forcefully gained power in Afghanistan on 15th of August, interestingly, on 2021, Pakistan thought that Afghanistan will work on the directions of Pakistan. The Pakistani deep state thought that, these are Talibanis, we gave them shelter for a very long time, they will only do work as per what we tell them. But the Talibanis said, who are you? How will you dictate terms to us? We have our own nation, we have our own territorial integrity, we have our own sovereignty. Why should we work as Team B of Pakistan? So there was a huge crisis that erupted between the ISI, the Pakistan ISI, and the Taliban. And now the Taliban says that, you don't have money for your own people in Pakistan. Your economy is sinking. You have trouble within yourself, your political parties, etc. Instead of your prime minister, it is the Pakistan army chief who's ruling the country. So how can we trust you? So we will build ties with India because India's economy is rising.
They are
India is ready
inviting
to help
us.
our people. So this is the reality. Many will question that, Taliban is not giving education to girl child. Taliban is killing its people. Taliban is trying to torture, bring in Sharia law, etc. India does not agree with that. India often has condemned that. I have personally also made documentaries on this education situation and other issues. India will not stand by these policies of the Taliban, but that does not mean that independently we will not help the people of Taliban, build trade with them, etc. As geopolitics erupts in every area, every situation, all parts of the world. It's a reality that Taliban is there. It's a reality that Taliban has Afghanistan in its control. And we have to frame our national policy or our foreign policy according to the reality of the day, which is that Taliban is there. So unfortunately, we have to deal with them in this given situation. And we have to build on the ties because the people of Afghanistan expect that the historical ties that have been there will be implemented and taken forward.
Yeah,
Thank you, Aditya ji.
recently,
I think some of the points you mentioned earlier on terrorism, I think the strategic alliance is going to be helpful. It looks like we are going to have our Kashmir situation after Pahalgam part 2 sometime soon because it's very
Yes.
interesting. We have more questions. We are going to
Yes.
ask Sita ji to say a few words about why Shankar Jayanti function had to be cancelled this year. Sita ji, can you please explain what you have been doing in
Yeah.
Kashmir in the last 10, 15 years?
Namaskar to all of you. So first I give my pranams to His Holiness Sri Shankar Kakracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetam, who's been the backbone of celebrating this Adi Shankara Jayanti for the past 14 years in Srinagar. So we've been coming for the past 14 years. About 100 of us come with about 20 pandits. And we also have some cultural activities, Vedic parayans. We have some Rigveda Samhita Homam. All these things have been happening each year. And during the COVID, the couple of 2 years, we were not able to come. So last year, we were all done and ready, and about 110 of us, we had booked our flight tickets and everything. And just before our departure on April 23rd,
This
so
year.
that, yeah, yeah, this April, so we were just ready and packed everything. We had already packed all our things, and we had shipped some of the basic utensils. I mean, basic whatever we need there. So it all had reached Jeshta Devi Mandir, and I was just about a couple of days before this attack. I was with the Swamiji, and suddenly Swamiji just saw me and said, "I think you should not go now because the situation is not right." But then we had arranged everything, and all of us were really upset because all of us were very enthusiastic because this 7 days at Kashmir for the past 14 years has been our second home.
Yeah.
So it was like we felt as if we were at our home place, Jeshta Devi Mandir. So we never felt anything. I mean, we've been in times of curfew and everything, and still those are the years when it just went on smoothly. We did not have any issue. But this Pahalgam attack took us back a lot, and I mean, the back of our mind, it was really troubling us, and we were feeling really, really bad, and so many people were disappointed they could not come. We tried our best to convince Swamiji to say, no, no, the situation is fine, but Swamiji said we'll do it next year. So this year, the coming 2026 Adi Shankara
26.
Jayanti falls on April 21st, 2026, and we are hopefully planning, and we've already got all the tickets done. There is no with regard to Shankara Jayanti, we don't tell anybody. It just comes like that. 110 tickets just get filled by
Yeah.
August. So I come back in April or May, and in June I get calls telling Auntie, please put our names.
Mhm.
So the love for Kashmir with us is, I mean, it's not gone. So Swamiji has been doing a lot of activities. The Sankalp, which we do on the first day. See, normally we come, it's a 1 week schedule. So if all of you are nearby, we would like you all to join at least this 2026 for the Shankara Jayanti. We would love to have you all there. So we start with a wonderful Sankalp written by the Swamiji, and about how he's taken Kashmir so much into that Sankalp, and that's how each year we've been able to, make Kashmir more peaceful, and feel we are so attached to Srinagar that this 7 days is a year. Each year we look forward to come there. So this is all because of Swamiji's blessing. My father was the one who was appointed by the Swamiji to do this each year. So normally how we do it is We arranged for the tickets to be done, and all the other expenses are borne by my dad for the past 13 years. So unfortunate, last year I lost him in 2024 in September. Until that, he had been coming there. For the past 14 years, he's been coming and doing all. I mean, we do everything as assigned by the Swamiji. So we look forward this coming year and the years to come to make. I mean, we hope and pray and wish that Srinagar becomes more peaceful. We need more people to come, more Kashmiri Pandits to come in, participate in our program and benefit by what the Swamiji does. So we would like you all who has been here. I mean, I was not able to join in this because I had a wedding to go. So all those who are here, we would love to have all of you. I'm sorry I didn't get all your names, but we would love to have you for the 2026 Shankar Jayanti. And Shankar, thank you so much for having me in.
Yeah, I could see that you are going in the car. Aditya ji, Sita's father was the one who I worked with him very closely, and we started this awareness program on August 15, 2021. Garyali ji was the one during the inauguration, and also our Nagaswamy, Padma Bhushan, archaeologist. He was also present on that day with Anugraha Bhashanam by His Holiness.
Right,
So,
right.
do you think that invisible security is going to be working for all the visitors from South?
Yes,
Sitaji,
ma'am.
I would like to request you if you will do this function in Yatri Nivas, Lal Chowk. It will be, matlab, more people will come because so many people are calling me also ki we want to join. But you know, Jeshta Devi is very far away for general people because everybody cannot go there. But in
So
Yatri
I will
Nivas,
just tell Swamiji maybe one day function we can have it there, because here we have the thing is the Vedic Pandits who come there, we get our cooks from Chennai, from Tamil
I have
Nadu,
talked
and
to them. I have already talked to them this
so I
year
will tell
because
Swamiji maybe one day we can come over to Yatri Nivas and we can
because
have a small function there.
84 rooms are there and hall is there, everything is there,
Okay.
because I was there for 2 days. I was just check everything, so because people can come and join, otherwise Jeshta Devi is little bit everybody cannot reach there.
Yeah, I will
No,
put in this word to Swami.
we will definitely do one more session. Now we are running out of time. Aditya ji, thank you so much for sparing the time. Please let us do this series part 2, because we have to ask you more questions, and it was a great explanation that gave and brought us up to speed on what is going on, and we want to talk more about Taliban also. It is likely that
Shankarji, I would suggest that next time we should do this in Kashmir.
Yeah.
If you inform me in advance, I will book my tickets, and both of us will go there and perhaps sitting at Lal Chowk
I'm
or at
already
Kir
telling you
Bhavani.
the dates for 2026.
You
I'm
always
telling you the
believe in
dates.
doing
We'll be
things on the
landing in
ground,
Srinagar
so
on
we will do that.
15th, and we are there till 22nd.
Done. Perfect.
Very good.
On the
Thank you
15th
all
of
so much.
April.
I think we are running
And
short of time now. We already
okay,
exceeded
thank you so
our
much for
60
having
minutes
me. Thank you,
by
Shankar.
another 30 minutes. So I will reschedule this for
Thank you
part 2,
so much to
and
each and every
we
one
will
of you.
continue the discussions again.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Shankarji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We want to thank Kanchi Mutt channels, Kamakodi.tv, and then Kanchi Mutt YouTube channels, and not to forget BDSP Raja for all the technical support from behind. And we also thank Dinamalar, India's only leading Tamil newspaper, for giving great coverage for our Kashmir series. As we discussed with Aditya ji, he gave us like a live, we were there and the battlefield and then seeing all this. So such an explanation we gave. We are going to continue with the same discussions shortly. Within a month, we'll plan another discussion on this. Thank you all so much. We look forward to seeing you again.